I'm Tim,
I'm Julie.
and we are Tim and Julie. So we were talking about some interesting things that I've noticed here in Sedona, and I'm sure you guys who are in the spiritual circuits of awareness and enlightenment, you'll discover this as well. Just all you have to do is go online and just look at the number of seminars that are being hosted around New Age awarenesses and spiritual journeys. Why is it there are so many women more active in this space? Like we go to seminars here in Sedona, it's like you'll find 3 guys out of 25 women in a room talking about spiritual awarenesses, and so we thought that would be an interesting thing for Julie to just kind of do some Q&A with me on this topic, because I have obviously come to Sedona and my awarenesses are fairly high. And there's some small group of men around me that I'd like to bring to the table and discuss around this as just men's. So this is more of an opportunity to tee up that topic. So,
Okay. So a couple of questions that come to mind as a woman is, first of all, what is your perception of why there are more men that show up at these events? They're open and they're, I would assume, marketed to the same age groups is what my interpretation would be. So it would be ages 45 to 60, for instance, and that would be that equal exposure to men and women. And why aren't men responding to those? Do they feel they already know it all? Are they afraid of something? They don't want to be seen. They're too busy. What is your perception on that?
well, given that I'm here and they're not, let me tell you the answer to that question from a different perspective. I can tell you what I think, why I think my friends that I know and I've worked with for years, they're not open and aware. And quite frankly, it's an interesting dilemma, because I work in technology, and as a technologist and a techno geek, my entire career has been in technology, over 34 years. So I've been in this what I call left brain logic for years. Okay. And it's very natural to me. It comes easily. I've been very open to new ideas, and my personal character is one where I like to discover and push my own envelope. I have a feeling that a lot of men get comfortable in this space of structure and left brain, where challenging the norm is not socially, or what I call not just socially. It's not macho. We like to go, watch the football games and do all the tough guy things, go out shooting guns and all that. But it's amazing, the guys who are tough, who are doing this, who I know, who I could name some names, but I will not. They're very sensitive. They believe in ghosts. They believe in things that are esoteric that they don't want to talk about it. And when I start talking about it, it just pours out to me. But they won't be here talking. So they're not at the seminars. They're not talking about this. And I think a lot of this is because they're afraid to open up. And they're afraid to find out that they have a feminine aspect of awareness, which is the nurturing, caring, and being spiritually aware means that you have to have an inner knowing of yourself. And that's not macho, and that's not socially accepted in our communities. So my personal journey has been one where I've always pushed the envelope. We did just a series a few minutes ago, which you'll also see in another segment about us pushing envelopes. So that's part of that. But the awarenesses really come from within, about being comfortable, and it's a comfort factor, and it's social gaps. Now, in terms of what I have experienced being here, is that a lot of my friends that I talk to, they'll hear me speak, or they'll hear me talk about things, and I've experienced things from UFOs to ghosts to orbs to other experiences off planet in this life as well as other lives, in terms of my personal journey. And that stuff nobody wants to talk openly about, and because it makes them seem like their careers are up in jeopardy. I, as a technologist, as a senior level individual in technology, giving advice to big, large corporations, to hear them speak, to have them think that I understand and believe the stuff, I'm a kook. The truth is, it actually works the other way for me, because I'm so credible on one side, and then I speak this way, and that's when it shifts, and it's a tipping point for my friends to say, I can't believe that you're so connected, and yet you understand all the other side of this. And to me, it's that balance that they're missing. They're not willing to open up in that space. So anyway, that's how I see it. How do you see it as a partner?
So two things came to mind. So I have another question for you, but
Mhm.
it's not surprising, therefore, that when the first time I actually met Tim was at a meditation. Second time I met Tim was at a class. Third time I met Tim was at another class. And there was another, and it was through the family and friends and stuff, and it was just really in passing. So so you realize that he was actually going to things, that he was seeking to know himself deeper. So that was one thing you did say, was when you talked about all these things that you're experiencing outside of yourself.
I was teaching myself and I was growing.
But you're also doing other things that were deepening you knowing you within. So everything that we went to, that we crossed paths at, were tools and seminars that taught more about going within the meditations and stuff. So it was not just experiencing and being open to everything that seems foreign to us, but like the UFOs and stuff that you were exposed to at a very young age. It was also your desire to know yourself on a deeper level. So and actually showing up.
Well, Sedona has an interesting effect on me. When I've been coming to Sedona. I first came here in 1980, and then didn't come back since then. But I came back from the from the 2009s onwards. I've been coming back and forth here primarily because when I come here, it's as intense as my work has been. It's to heal myself. I would get here. I would work. I'd just come in and work out of my remotely because I can. And I would just absorb the positive energies here. But it was really about just being present with myself in this space. And it's not easy for me to do that. I'm very much in my head. I'm always running and I'm always busy. I'm a busy bee. So that's slowing down and being present and just being with the mountains and taking in the energy is another aspect of just opening up aspects of you, of grounding yourself, so you can allow that balance. And so that's how I would see that.
Okay.
So thank you for pointing out that you have to actually make a change if you want to change.
And that led then to the new intentions, which was, the previous interviews covered a little bit. That's how we each got into those places, is because we noticed within ourselves that there was something that was in alignment, and we noticed that that was our responsibility, and we noticed that we needed to make some changes within ourselves, which then led to new intentions of what we wanted to experience next in our lives. We did that individually, which I call our own self-realization. When you're going through those processes in life, there is a point of that you need to do for yourself. There's too many people looking for that other person to show up to do it for them. It doesn't work that way. You need to do enough for yourself so you can care for yourself, so you know yourself, so when you do come to a relationship, first of all, you're going to attract somebody who's already at the same level, who's also taking responsibility for themselves. Because your relationship isn't going to work if one's being the victim and the other one is being the dictator. So there's a number of factors that go into place when we're talking about this journey. That's just one of them. So they just kind of gave me an example of what each of us did individually, and then it was, now it seems like no coincidence. There was a coincidence of how when he would come into town, almost invariably every time he would show up for about 9 to 12 months, we would keep crossing paths at these events, and we didn't plan it. Neither one of us connected to each other. We didn't text each other. We didn't call each other and say, hey, you're going to go to this event. We just both happened to be at the same places.
So I was going to maybe close on that, but that's something that just popped up, and we'll go a little longer on this. I ran into a couple while on one of my travels about 2 months ago, and the couple is very interesting. Serendipity, however, I hand business cards out, and I get a call back, from the individual saying that their wallet dropped on the floor and the card popped out, and they have a reason to, if all the things, my card is on the floor, so they need to talk to me. Lovely couple. They came and visited. We built a relationship over Skype, and we invited them to come back, and they came to visit us last weekend. It's an interesting thing I'd like to share with you about that journey, right? this journey can start at all ages, and they're in a path, like most of you are in a path of at different stages, right? So we look back at sort of the things that we've done, and we just take for granted that those little baby steps, like you said, show up to a seminar, improve yourself, open your mind, create that little box on the side where if you hear something, you have an open mind. Yeah, it doesn't fit your belief structure. Don't throw it away. Put it in the box. Come back to that. You may discover some things in the box that you may never want to touch, but other things you'll handle appropriately. And how does one reach a level of awareness so you can actually build and then accelerate that? And that some of that is it's a baby steps. But all I would say about that is using the couple as an example, they came with open minds, open heart, they're very open to change. They were at that place in their life where they were looking for something. So until you reach that place in your life and you're not looking, you're not going to find anything. Not anything that's off where you're already looking. You will. It's like a race car driver. Where do you drive? Where do you look when you're driving a race car? You look where you want to go. You don't look where you've been, and you don't look at the guy on the side of you. Look where you want to go. So if you're not looking where you want to go, you will end up exactly where you are. And I think that's an example of keeping your eyes open and focus on where you want to go. And that's what we experienced with the couple. They came with open ears and eyes, and we had a wonderful weekend. We've become great friends. We had a lot of fun and excitement, and we did some work that David Wilcock was in town. We went to do the seminars with Wilcock, and so new awarenesses, and they showed up, and we're here together. We went through the journey together, and I welcome any man out there who's looking to open his mind and change his relationship and look for greater things in his personal growth. Start with that, but you got to look in where you want to go.
Okay, so I think we're actually making this two parts. So what I want to add to the experience with you and couple is another perspective on this, to broaden your horizons. When you're out and about, and the meeting was in an unusual place in travel, and they didn't know each other at all, and they just kept crossing paths over and over. Pay attention to those types of relationships and those types of coming together, because it's happening more frequently right now, and it's really important. We're expanding our boundaries, we're expanding our boxes, and our contacts, the people that are within our comfort zone. There's more and more people as we're going through our consciousness shifts that we are going to now start meeting with and interacting with. And what we're finding is it's not just that we share very similar obvious, to me obvious, it would be frequencies and just energy patterns with the people that are showing up. That's what's attracting us initially, without even really realizing it. But it's also how we're starting to see some of these relationships that can develop into some collaborations that are going to be very important in both of our growth into stepping into our work in this world. Just one of my triggers is I'll just do it myself. I'm independent. I was raised independent to be independent, to just get the job done.
Sorry.
And so it's interesting because I find that's actually pretty common. And you see it in the corporation a lot, and you see a lot of contention going on. And people, we react to language or somebody not doing their full job, so you just step in and you get it done. You have timelines. Tim does this a lot in his work. I've watched him do it. I watch people fall to the wayside, and he just steps in and picks up the pieces. So you get into a pattern of just doing it all yourself. So this whole experience that we were just sharing or stepping into here with Tim meeting and bumping into a couple through a bad day at the airport multiple times, it's interesting to pay attention to those relationships and how they show up. They're expanding. They're coming way out of places that we typically don't have a lot of reference for. We typically meet them in work. We meet them at home with friends, family, those normal avenues of meeting people and creating experiences and relationships. Now we're bumping into people in all kinds of places, and to pay attention to when things are lining up and why the universe is doing those. We're bringing in talents and skills and collaborations and you have to personally move beyond yourself or wanting to do it all yourself. So even this experience that Tim and I are having with doing these videos is going beyond just doing it ourselves, and we both carry that vibe. The good thing about both of us carrying that vibe is we have a lot of respect for each other's work in the businesses we do, because we do just get the work done. But we also are aware that we have a tendency to do that, so we have to watch that in the relationship too, and then bring ourselves back together.
So I want to say this because it's just dying to come out. I feel like I want to jump out and say it. This whole thing about awareness, it's easy just to say those words. I don't think people really have an appreciation for what it means. You don't see the stuff that we're talking about by just looking with your eyes and thinking with your brain. You have to feel it out. A lot of our work that we do is on our left brain. What we're talking about here is being aware of your other sensory systems. And some of this is an example that I want to bring up, which is about just using your muscle and your heart and your nervous system as a gauge. Your sensory awarenesses of energy around you, if you want to call it that, all the frequencies, but the personal energies we all share, and the connections we make, and the synergistic things that occur in our lives. You could rationalize it away up here, but you got to feel it here to really make that happen. Now, what happened with us, with me, with the travels, was I met a couple at the airport, bad day at the airport, and handed a business card, and off we went. I didn't understand at the time why so many times I was meeting with them, and every time I met with them at another place at the airport, it was like, hi, here you go again, and we would keep moving on. Finally, just as I was walking away, we decided to exchange information, and I handed a card. He didn't have his. So my card, a couple of weeks later, falls out of his wallet. Then the wallet hit the ground, and he made the awareness that this was no accident. Of all the things that could have fallen out of his wallet when it fell, my card fell out. He called me, texted me, and we made a connection. We've had several conversations online and on Skype, and we've actually invited them over, and they came here. And the amazing thing here is that they're very tapped in as a couple. They've got a young daughter, and amazing, beautiful child. So, wish I could share names, but you'll get to know them sometime in our relationship. The point is, it wasn't until those connections were made through the heart, as opposed to the mind. And we talk like, you should just make these connections. People don't understand. We're not using a left brain for this. We're using other sensory systems, which you need to get in tune with. And some of that will come from doing the things that are sometimes the hardest for me personally, which is being still and being quiet and just checking in. Mm-hmm. So we can talk about the couple maybe on another time, or I'll piece together the video we made about them, because it's a lovely experience with them. And I think it's the awarenesses that we're talking about, that we should just listen to ourselves.
Right, and pay attention to what keeps showing up. Look at the synchronicities. Mm-hmm. After the fourth or fifth time that they crossed paths on the same day through various airports, they started paying attention. So it's the synchronicities. It's three different friends telling you to see the same movie. It's a coworker and the guy in this grocery store line in front of you and your partner that say something or reference an author or whatever. Pay attention to those little nuances. That's what we mean by awareness. Start just paying attention. And it will take you into new directions. If you've been doing a lot of inner work, really pay attention, because things are lining up for you. Don't discount the work that you're doing. Pay attention and be willing, be open.
Be open to take that first step off of that glass floor, and you're not sure if it's really glass, but you might just fall to the ground. But without that, you won't know.
You won't know. Hence how we got here. We just kept paying attention. Like I said, we kept crossing paths. We're not even really knowing each other, just recognizing that we kept crossing paths. And so, look where it got us.
A place where we can say, good night, honey.
No.